Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 1A of PinkBunny's TWOW of Tears. Let's jump into it. So, how many contestants decided to join this TWOW and descend down into the mines with me? 216. 216 contestants decided to descend down into the mines with me. You might think that's a lot. It is. I am dying inside. On screen right now are the contestant grids, which display every contestant in alphabetical order. On these grids are also where I've displayed your booksonas, confessionals, and current tiers. Since this is the first episode, everyone starts on the Emerald tier. I noticed some of you also signed up with themed booksonas for this TWOW, so I want to quickly just say to those people, thank you for that. So 216 have joined, and with that came 216 responses to the first prompt. If you recall, the first prompt was, if sea creatures could talk, what would they say about the world above the water? In order to determine who should move up to the Sapphire tier or move down to the Citrine tier, we need to vote on all these responses to figure it out. But how do you vote? After these instructions, I'll display a bunch of voting screens. Pause on a random screen. Start with an open square bracket. In all caps, type the keyword for the screen that is currently at the top right of the video. Press space, and then rank all the responses on the screen from best to worst, every response represented by the letter to the left of them. The response you think is the absolute best should be the first or leftmost letter, while the response you think is the absolute worst should be the last or rightmost letter. What determines a response's quality is entirely your subjective opinion, as long as you judge them fairly. Make sure that you have ranked every response on the screen exactly once, then end with a closing square bracket, and you're done. Do not comment your vote down below. Instead, to submit your vote, open the voting Google form in the description of this video. Write your vote down in the first box, then your YouTube or Discord account name in the second. If you wrote your Discord name, then DM me, the Pink Bunny Empire, a short message saying that you voted. If you wrote your YouTube account name, do not comment your vote, but rather just comment something along the lines of, I voted. Verify that you have done either of these things, then submit your form to have cast your vote. A few other things about voting. Firstly, you may have noticed these check marks to the right of responses. If a response is 10 words or less and follows any round technicals, it will have that check mark. If it fails either of those, it will instead be a red X. You are encouraged to vote responses with red X's next to them lower. Secondly, you can vote yourself first if you find your response on the screen, as long as you vote every other response fairly from best to worst. Think of this as a personal incentive to vote. You're boosting your score by a few percentage points and making the results data slightly more accurate. Finally, in the description of this video, below the submission form, there is a link to a Google Sheet with even larger screens than the ones in this video, called Mega, Half, and Quarter screens respectively. If you don't know what these are or think you'll struggle voting on larger screens, then you can ignore them. Submit votes for the Mega, Half, and Quarter screens to the Google form as you would any other vote, if you do choose to vote on them. Anyways, that's all for how to vote. Of the 216 contestants, the top 20% or 43 who wrote the best responses will be promoted to the Sapphire tier, while the bottom 49% or 106 who wrote the worst responses will be demoted to the Citrine tier. You might think 43 people promoting to Sapphire tier round 1 is a lot, and I would agree with you. The 20% promotion rate wasn't exactly designed for a competition of over 200 contestants. Because of that, there will be a rule change to this TWOW. However, to keep this episode short, I'll elaborate on that change in 1B, not now. Anyways, with that out of the way, it's time to vote in order to determine the quality of everyone's responses. And with that, that's all from me for this episode. See you next time when we find out where everyone ranked.